Alright, in this video we're going to check out how to set up a document in Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop 2021. So if you are familiar with a document in Illustrator, there's a lot of similarities, subtle differences. We'll look at those. If you're familiar with Adobe Photoshop 2020, there's really no difference. So just a heads up there. Opening up Photoshop 2021 initially, you will see on the home page different items. Mine may have more than you. Initially, as you can see, I've had projects down here that I've worked with. So if you haven't opened this up, you will see nothing in your recents, obviously. At some point in time, I would suggest checking out the provided tutorials within Photoshop. Some require internet access, some don't. But nonetheless, those are always good to check out, as there's good content on basic tool functions and some more advanced items as well. So check those out if you can. So with that, we'll just create a new document, and that's on the left. You can just hit Create New. Again, if you are familiar with Illustrator, the initial setup looks familiar. So you have a lot of presets, which is great. In our case, you will be setting up custom sizes depending on what you're trying to create. Everything from a movie poster to album covers, menus that may be different sizes depending on what you're making it for. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Your unit of measurement and the sizes can change, and always follow the requirements on the project, and that will set you up for success there. As always, refrain from keeping the name of your documents untitled. Always title your document name as what it is. So if it's a movie poster, put movie poster. If it's a currency project, put currency. Okay, just make sure that you put the project name first, and then at least your first initial and then last name. That way when I receive it, I can organize it a little bit easier, and when you go to save your content, it's easier to find on your computer or cloud service that you're using. So your unit of measurement here is the most important thing to look at first. Again, depending on the project and the dimensions you're looking for, you may bounce around between most commonly inches, but you may have something in centimeters, millimeters, pixels, etc. My default is always inches, just transitions to print a little bit better for me in here, but you may have specific dimensions that you need, again, for a certain project. So just look at the requirements there. I'll just keep the standard here, 8.5 by 11. That's a copy paper. Your orientation, you can change that if needed, if you flipped your numbers. And by default, I'd like to keep everything at 300, at least at this point, for your projects. And again, that will be set up in your requirements in Canvas, so you can look further into that. Once you do that, you hit Create. It should load up. Sometimes it takes longer, just depending on the device that you're on and what else is loaded. But beyond that, if you see a white canvas show up on a background, you should be set up correctly. You can always double check a few things initially. You can always double check in the top left area. You'll see the document name here in a tab. That's just telling you that it's named there. If you see Untitled 1 there, not a big deal. You can always just make sure when you save it, rename your document. The bottom left here, the workspace, you will see in a small number set here. If you click on that and hold down, it will give you the width, height, and resolution, which will tell you if you've set up your document successfully as well. And with that, that is setting up a document in Photoshop CC 2021.